Welcome, chapter 30. The Little Friends. Did you find it all? I need some more. All right, chapter 30. Published January 28th, 2023. This memoir would haunt me continuously in my mind, and I continuously tried to push it to the back. It was too painful to solidify the truth like this in black and white. My childhood, my addiction, my love story. My ego hated the idea of looking like a dumb bitch for a man. Excuse my French, s'il vous plaît, but it's the truth. Plus, I had no idea where I was going with this. Would it be a romantic story of true love winning? And if not, then what was my point? I write best when I am either falling in love or falling apart. Rudy Francisco. I was neither falling in love nor apart. I was in some bizarre space in between, some weirdly quiet jolting between hope and purgatory. If time were a roller coaster, this is when she would be climbing towards the main peak, accelerating slowly, attempting to defy gravity, torturingly building momentum, only to drop you into some ordered type of chaos until the final event that would brutally stop time's inertia in its tracks, thereby forcing this memoir forth. The roller coaster is already too perfect a metaphor to attempt to find a more clever one. Also, side note, I don't like them anymore. I never wrote him again. I had some growing understanding of how wrong this was becoming for me. When he was there was no place in the world more meant for me than with him, but he was there less and less. And when dealing with the other him, I had an overwhelming knowing that there was nowhere I belonged less than where he was. I would second guess myself often, though, especially when I would come back to face this memoir from time to time. Our love story was the most meaningful one of my life up to that point, and I loved it for the most part. I loved the falling in love with him part of our story, and the making love and the floating away together in our universe, and the talking about meaningful things, meaningless too, for that matter, for hours upon hours. The dreams and signs and Henry and so many other synchronicities. Why would all these things be experienced if it wasn't meant to be? I could come to no logical conclusion at the time. It's true. My life story now unfolds in the following way. Before him, after him. Before meeting him, I may have secretly loved love, but my heart was still cold and closed to almost everyone. There was barely one person on this planet that I fully trusted, and she was gone. There were a few lingering beliefs in me that needed to be brought to light, questions hanging out in the shadows that I finally found worth asking. If the one person who was supposed to love you and was biologically wired to do so couldn't, who could? If you can't trust your own mother, who could you trust? I can answer these questions readily now, though the path to getting there was a brutal one that took decades. Between the running from it with drugs and alcohol and other things, to the years trying desperately to work it out with the source, to no avail. And the years of purposefully digging it out at the roots, which ran deep. Primarily, there is only one person I need to love, one person I need to trust. If I can love me, trust me, I can love anyone, and I can see that which is trustworthy much easier. And I do mean these words to their fullest capacity and potential. Unconditional love, unconditional trust. As a result, making me more useful to those I love and all of humanity, really, in a roundabout way. If someone else on my path loved me or was worthy of trust, the cherry on top. So it seems AA is right again. You can't give what you haven't got, but to get it feels almost magical, though it's far from magic. To see it in another, even better. To give it away so that you can keep it, divine, actually out of this world. I am the first garden I need to care for. I used to think it was my heart that he was breaking, but my heart doesn't feel broken anymore. It feels rather mysteriously unbreakable. Did you think Bruce Willis, too? Everything that blocked my heart is what was breaking. Fear, ego, self-deception, wounds. His love both thawed and broke the chains around my heart, thawing in part just by becoming aware of his sheer existence, but also because I allowed this love story. The exact moment I collided into him was the exact time the chains had been ready to corrode anyway. He was the final catalyst, and it was simply time. The road that stretches before the feet of a man is a challenge to his heart long before it tests the strength of his legs. Thomas Aquinas. Unless I go backwards, and that's not an option, my heart will remain open. This I know to be true. Before him, I had no idea what kind of lover I was or what I wanted out of romantic love. Sure, there were some generic ideologies that I had picked up along the way, but I had little depth of experience. After him, though, I understand my worth as a lover and am sure of what I do not want. Love. A simple word with delicately complex consequences as a verb, much greater than romance. Though romantic love is certainly worth considering. I have found that as a lover, in every sense, I seem to be on a path to becoming an ultimate one. I say this with no delusion. I believe that at the core, we are all ultimate lovers. Love is not blind. Self-deception is. I have been both. I have seen the ugliest parts of a man and loved him still, as I have seen the ugliest parts of myself and loved them too. As a lover, I will not lie to make you feel better. Love understands the fleeting nature of feelings. Beyond feelings, love wants what is ultimately best and will tell the truth, like Betsy did with me. Always. As a lover, I can now see another in their entirety and love them anyway, as I have done with myself. I will tell the truth no matter what because that's what love does and because I've been able to do that with myself, mostly thanks to the grace shown to me when I didn't deserve it. See, I tried to write about romantic love, but I couldn't keep it that contained. I don't know what that's about. Maybe because there's only one fundamental love, agape, highest form of love, charity. It has occurred to me recently that I could very well be alone in the romantic and sexual sense for the rest of my days after this love story. This realization comes with a twinge of sadness, but mostly acceptance. Surprisingly, for such a romantic. I never set out to be a nun, but here we are. I love unconditionally, but will only be with another in relationship now under certain conditions, transparent ones. Transparency is a hard one for humans, I get it, but too underrated, I think. How else could you feel free with another and not caged? Do we not all salivate at the mouth from the thought of freedom? I desire nothing more. I'm no math whiz, but I'm pretty sure this is a universal equation. Love plus truth equals freedom. I am unable to settle anymore as my soul screams in disagreement. Give me liberty or give me death. A few months of therapy later, I turned in my 2 weeks' notice, accepted a new job that allowed me to cut out all outside care of my child, and I began to put some boundaries in place in my relationship. I was going to live a life worth living, or I would die trying. Paquito o Paquito, brick by brick. Chapter 30. We lost our friends. I lost my friends. I don't have a whole lot to say about this chapter. It seems that the times in my life that seem uneventful and I'm just putting one foot in front of the other and doing what I think I'm supposed to be doing, they they seem to end up being the times that take me further on my path, as opposed to the big giant steps, the big, tower moments when it all crashes down and then I'm forced to change. Like when I'm just doing the things, there are real real inner changes happening during those times. And so I kind of learned to hold those times in high regard now. Maybe it's the lack of pain that's nice too. I don't know. But I seem to be in one of those times where I'm just doing what I think I'm supposed to be doing, not completely sure where I'm going or what I'm doing. But sure of a few things. And because of the time period that I read about, sure that the most important relationship in my life is the one I have with myself. So, thank you for coming. I'm glad we had some friends come. I'm sure they'll be back at some point. And see you soon for chapter 31. Bye, guys.